Hey guys, so today I wanted to give you a bit of an update on everything that I've got going on at e-coop. So over the next 4 months, something really exciting is going on, for me at least. It's exciting. My school has given me the opportunity to, instead of doing like a normal co-op term where I'd go work for a company elsewhere, I get to do something called an e-co-op, an entrepreneurship co-op. So I'm going to be running my own business for my co-op, and then with that, I'm like in a startup incubator, and I have mentors, and I have to hit like weekly, monthly guidelines, stuff like that. But basically, I don't have to go work for someone else. I get to work for myself, which is super awesome. That means that I can run e-coop full-time, as many hours as I want, instead of part-time, which is what I've done in the past with school and such. So now I get to do full-time. I get to choose whatever projects I want to work on and kind of guide the path of what we do and what we create. So that's super exciting for me, and one of the things that I kind of wanted to focus on over the next 4 months and refining like how I run those competitions, making it really efficient, but also a lot of fun. So my first competition that I ran was April 7th, I believe. That was Niagara Select. And then the second one just happened about 2 weeks ago, and you're seeing this video a little bit late because I'm still trying to figure out how to edit everything together. But that's what I've been up to at the beginning part of September. So you haven't really heard much from me. That was one of the reasons, is I'm working on stuff like that. And then we've got another one coming up. There's more that are being planned in the works. Big exciting term coming up for me, and it's been an exciting past few weeks, and there's a lot more to come. So this video is basically going to recap everything that I did in the past 2 weeks, and I hope that's interesting to you, that you get to see the behind the scenes of kind of what it's like to run a cube store full time. I know a lot of you guys ask me questions about that, and hopefully this gives you a bit of an insight of what that's like. It started off with, I'm from around the Toronto region. I'm from Waterloo, and I had to fly to Halifax, obviously.
Hello.
Are turned off and stowed at this end. Electronic devices and headsets may be used after takeoff when the seatbelt sign has been turned off, provided they are not transmitting or receiving voice or text information.
So the morning of the flight, my dad and I had to leave pretty early because we had to go run a bunch of errands. Of course, I left everything to the last minute, so we're doing it right before I get on the flight. Needed to go buy the name tag holders, the lanyards. We were going to go get some change as well, but I ended up doing that later in Halifax. But anyways, made it to the airport, and we flew out of Hamilton. And we flew Flair Airlines, if any of you are interested in Canada. Pretty cheap airline, but the delays are nuts. So this first flight was actually really good. This first flight was like the best flight I ever had. I somehow got like the exit aisle, so I had like from like where my knees were to like in front of my seat, there was like 1.5 feet of room. It was glorious, and there was no one in my row, so that was phenomenal. And then when I landed, I met up with my friend Victoria, who'd already been there for 2 days, and we rented a car and we took it to Cape Breton Island. We drove there. It was like about 4 or 5 hours, and it was all going like really well. We were hoping to see a moose. We saw one. We saw some deer, some foxes. So that was all really cool until we got pulled over.
Just up on vacation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cape Breton for a few days.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm glad you're not in the cab trail with the lights on, because
Yeah.
this is cab trail, but
Yeah.
not in the park, because there's no lights in the park at all.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
somebody would probably run into the back of your car.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem. Just drive safe.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank
Have
you.
a good night. Sorry.
Basically, we got pulled over because we didn't have, this was like a new car to us, and we're complete scrubs, so like no excuses, but we didn't have the running lights on of the back of the car, so we had our headlights on, but our running lights weren't, so like we were kind of completely black. So yeah, I mean, that was fine. That was the first time I've ever been like pulled over for anything, but the cop was super nice. Got to the Airbnb pretty late at like around 11:30, 12-ish. But yeah, so the plan for Cape Breton was just to basically drive around the Cabot Trail, and I was going to meet up with my family that I hadn't seen in a while. A lot of my family's from Newfoundland, and they came down to visit me, which was really nice of them. My nana, my aunt, my uncle, so that was pretty awesome. Just like the mountains and the cliffs, I didn't expect the mountains to be as like tall as they were. I was expecting just like rolling landscapes kind of. So like when we turned the corner a few times and there's just like a giant, like I think it was like 500 meters is like what some of the elevation was on some of the mountains, but it was just really impressive. And I don't live by the sea, so it's just always nice to go back to the sea. Now, I brought a bunch of stuff with me on this trip to make it possible for me to ship cubes while I was traveling, which is pretty cool. So what I did basically is I paid for 2 suitcases, 2 luggages, and just filled those with cubes, packed as little clothes as I like could, I guess, fit that all in there, and then just packed 2 suitcases full of cubes. And I brought my label printer, I brought packages so that I could ship stuff. I brought everything I needed so that I could ship cubes on the go, and there was no delay with the shipping. And that actually worked out okay. That wasn't too bad. I was able to get cubes shipped pretty on time, which is really nice. So when we would get back from touring around, that's kind of when I would try and do business stuff. So I'd go on my phone and I'd respond to emails, or I would get a package ready, but a lot of it was just like getting everything set up for the competition. I still needed to do the name tags. I posted like an Instagram story. I was like in the airport, like cutting up the name tags, like trying to get those ready. So I still had to do the name tags, still had to do the scorecards. I was worried because we didn't have like certificates ready. I didn't know if I'd be able to like bring a printer, or if Liam, the delegate who was doing it, or Jack, the co-organizer who was working on it with me, if they could bring a printer. But they both came through, brought printers, so that was great for the certificates. My head was like kind of a mess throughout a lot of it because I'm so like stressed trying to like, go through the checklist of like, okay, what am I forgetting? Like what am I gonna show up and like Liam's just gonna be like, I thought you were bringing that, and luckily that didn't really happen. So we pulled off clutch there. The fact that it was only 30 competitors made it a lot easier to run, but we'll get to that in a second, because first we left the Cabot Trail, we drove the whole thing, went back to Halifax, and then we had our Airbnb right in Dalhousie, which is like is a really cool location to have a university, in my opinion. Again, I'm from a landlocked region. We've only got lakes, no oceans. So the fact that Dalhousie is like 15 minutes in 3 directions, you get to ocean, really, really cool. And on top of that, the city's just like, it's very youthful, and it's just a lot of fun. So we spent a lot of time on the water, kind of like walking around the boardwalk. There's hammocks, caught a crab. That was
so
fun.
be careful for that, okay? Oh my god!
Oh, I got him. So after all of our shenanigans, touring around Halifax, eating seafood, stuff like that, that then was time for the competition. I was kind of relieved because, like, it's dumb of me to do a vacation and then a competition instead of a competition and then a vacation. Super stressful to be on vacation and have all this running through your head. And then meanwhile, I was setting up my next competition, which is Vancouver Select 2018. And on the plane ride over to Halifax, like, while I'm in the plane on the runway, I'm setting up my account so that we can take payments for the registration. And then I finally get it all submitted literally before we take off. And then when we land, I get the notification that everything's good, it's good to go, and we started getting registrations coming through, which is super exciting. So by the time, 3 days later, by the time we were running the competition in Halifax, Vancouver had already sold out 100 seats, which is super awesome. So that was exciting, but then that's another thing I had to manage while I was over there, sending messages to my co-organizer over there, which is Kyle, or KBS Cuber, and then Anthony Brooks as well, who's going to be the delegate. So yes, after I got all the scorecards cut, all the name tags, everything, we took a taxi over to the venue, got everything set up. Everyone there was super, super, super helpful. Jack's entire family and squad, and it was awesome. It was really good. So we got the store set up. My friend Victoria kind of ran the show for CanQ, which is awesome, while I helped scramble or judge or completely fail at Scube 2-minute solves. So that was a clutch one. And I was rocking the super hot bathing suit and socks and flip-flops look, so that was a nice plus as well. So yeah, the comp went really smoothly. I wasn't used to a comp with only 30 competitors. The only one I'd ran before had 100, and this one was a lot easier in my opinion to go through. It was a lot less running around all over the place, having my name called. A lot of that is in part due to the fact that Liam was so helpful with all the scrambling and judging and stuff like that. And same with everyone who helped set it up and take it down. So it went really well. So super excited to do Vancouver now. And basically what I'm trying to do now is figure out basically what the process is for how I can run as many competitions as fast as possible, right? So how can I find a venue, organizer, delegate, get volunteers, all of that, put that all together, and then from the time I want to run a competition to the time the competition's run, minimize all the amount of work in that so that I can have more competitions all over Canada. I'll be able to run them cheaper, which means we could have competitions in a lot more obscure areas. I think Winnipeg just had its first competition ever. We sponsored that one. So, I didn't do any of the work for it. That was entirely Walker's work. But still cool to have competitions in different venues. Anyways, I'm rambling. But that's how the past 2 weeks went, and that's how a lot of the rest of the term is going to come up. So I'm going to be running competitions, I'm going to be running all over the place, I'm going to be trying to find better products. I'm trying to release stickers soon. The new GAN is coming out, which is super exciting. So yeah, there's a lot coming up, and I'm just gonna keep this as a video that is going to kind of set the benchmark and keep me hopefully in line with all the stuff I'm doing, and then I can look back and see everything that I did during the term. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope seeing a bit of the sneak peek of what happens behind the scenes was cool. If you have questions about how to run a cube store, basically, what I do, what's my day-to-day look like, you can just ask me in the comment section down below. There's going to be stuff that most questions, go for it. There's going to be a few that I'm not going to answer, just due to, you know, it is a business. Yeah, go for it. Ask your questions. Maybe I'll do a Q&A video, or have that be something I look to do in the future. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope this video turned out well, because I have not edited it yet, so we'll see. But that's it for this one. I had a blast the last 2 weeks. Thanks to everyone who helped me run the competition, who's helping me run the competitions in the future. And yeah, it's been super fun. So looking forward to the next 3 months, and I will see you guys in the next video.